Well, hello, investors and traders. I'm L.A. Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap, where we take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective. And that means each day we look at it and ask ourselves, what happened today, and what does it tell us about the coming ones? I do this show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube. It's under the channel, L.A. Little. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. It's up on the right-hand corner on the YouTube screen. Anytime content's pushed, you'll get a notification so you can stay up to date as soon as the videos show. So let's look at what happened here tonight. We had another down day today. We were down like 3% at one point, had a rally at the end of the day, took us back to the highs of the day, still a gap down. We'll see those charts here in a minute. I wouldn't get too excited. That was a short covering rally from what I can see. If we look overseas, we really didn't have much take place. We've got Europe in particular. Let's see, here's the DAX down 3%. Remember, we had that multiple swing point break on multiple time frames last week? Well, got the follow through today. That was a death knell to us, and that's what took us down. And I suspect that's probably not done, because usually, and I'll get to it when we get to the graph, but usually you've got more to come, and I'll show you why. Gold looks like it spiked high today. I think you're probably done on that move. We're going to get some sort of a retrace is my guess. May get another test of the top, but I don't think so. It looks like it's done to me. Same thing on the GDX as well. And oil down 3%, although oil actually kind of held up pretty well today. Let's take a look at the charts. Now, I'm going to start with the dollar tonight. Dollar now is hanging down here at the lows. Dollar broke to lower lows last week. This was that Draghi bar. This is the bar that's been holding everything. You know, some small stuff over the top, small stuff over the bottom. But now you're starting to get the pull away. And when you get the pull away like that, you have to start thinking range. You know, where's the next range underneath this? And so you've got a range down in this area. You kind of traded down into that. Actually, already finished it. But if you take the broader range top to bottom here, right, that says this could go quite a bit lower. So dollar may still find more room to the downside. I suspect with Yellen up on Wednesday, Thursday, that's when you're going to get the break here and the continuation of this ABCD structure to the downside. And so if you're looking at this and wondering if that's going to happen, well, I think there's a chance that in fact that's going to take place. Now, if it does that, of course, that's going to switch things for other currencies. For example, you're going to see the European currency go the other way. And right now, European currency is hanging up there at the highs. That should put pressure on it to go higher if the dollar is going lower. And of course, that's going to put pressure on the equity markets in Europe. Let's look at those. Last night I brought up the fact that, I told members Friday afternoon that we're probably going to see some pressure as a result of this break. That broke on this time frame, and it also broke, and I'm on the DAX now, that broke on this time frame, and it also broke here on the weekly time frame. That bar is, of course, just a little bit lower on this time frame, but you broke it on both of them, right? And when you break it on them, both of them like that, what you're going to do is you're going to get a continuation move 2 to 3 bars on the longest time frame. So on the weekly time frame, 2 to 3 bars to the downside. This is bar 1. And so you can expect another couple weeks of sideways to lower on this index. That's going to continue to put pressure on our equities because it's a direct, we're connected at the hip right now with Europe. And as Europe continues down, that's going to continue to put pressure on us. And if you put Europe over on the DAX over here, you can see the swing point lows the next target. That's down at 83.5. We're sitting tonight at 89.7. So in other words, you could drop another 600 points here, another 7%. That's the way Europe looks. And that, right now, that is the target. Now, I was asked a question today by one of the members, and I was trying to be very specific about what can happen here, and that is we could get a bounce back up. I mean, it doesn't mean that this thing just goes down, down, down day after day after day. It could, but there's probably going to be a bounce in here. Now you start looking at the bounce and saying, where can it travel to? Well, this bar here, this little zone, looks like heck to get above now, in my opinion. If you just look at these lows here on the monthly, you got, what is this, 9382 on that one. You got 9338. You got 9325. And you got 9396. So somewhere from between 9325, 93, 5 or whatever, somewhere in that area, you're going to have trouble. And if you look at the quote today, you're about 400 under that area. So you could bounce 300 and it not mean much of anything. Matter of fact, it would mean you need to take out a short position probably. So that's the DAX. That's what it looks like. CAC's looking just as bad now. CAC's breaks under the swing point lows today, so that one also will reaffirm tomorrow. You got nothing happening in Asia other than the Nikkei. Let's take a look at the Nikkei. You got problems there because the yen is surging. I didn't show that on the currencies, but the Nikkei is going to come right back down here and try to test these lows most likely. And let's go back to the currency right quick. Here's that Japanese yen. You can see the yen now over the swing point high. This is going to try to extend even farther, most likely, and that is going to put pressure on that particular market. So you got pressure on the one market that's still open. You got the Chinese holidays, so that Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, those are all going to shut down for most of the week, if not all the week. I didn't look specifically, but I think it's all week long. You got Nikkei open, but the Nikkei with the yen is going to take a hit. European market's going to continue to be weak. That pulls us over to our markets. And as I said at the top of the show, we got a late day rally, took us back to the highs of the day, but you still got a gap down. Now, you actually had, and we were talking about this today in the traders room, we actually had this little zone right here that this was trying to hold. This was about 1840 if I remember right. At least it was 1848, 98. I believe it was 1840 on the futures. That area was where it was trying to hold, and it did end up holding it. But look at your volumes on this comparatively. So let me clean this up and circle these for you. So if you're looking at this low and today's charge into it, here's the low down here. Here's today's volume. You can see the volume's heavier today than it was on that bar it was attacking today. It's also staying inside the big high volume bar, which is the August low. Staying inside of it now. Remember, it had been able to stay out. It was at this ledge up here. Well, it broke under the ledge, stays into the bar. This thing's going to try to get to the bottom of the bar. And so if you're looking at the S&P 500, it does not look like the pain is over. Moving on to the NASDAQ. On the NASDAQ actually goes under the low, right? Now remember, this is multiple swing points, multiple time frames as well. So the NASDAQ gets under the low, and of course, anytime you get under it, if you bounce back up, this little green that you see here is going to turn red tomorrow. That's going to be the resistance zone on the way back up tomorrow. And so to get back over this is going to be one tough feat. Volume expands, is suspect going underneath it. So you may get some sort of a bounce on a little hammer here, but I think it's going to have a hard time getting higher, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this low get tested again. Looking at the NDX now, technology continues to get sold. We saw it sold again today, although with that late day rally saw some covering in it, but the NDX is down below the lows. Volume also expands. The only ray of light is in the Russell. The Russell tests the August lows, has less volume. Russell finishes up over that low. So that says the Russell did a test and succeeded in holding price. The only problem is that it actually pushed some pretty good volume. You're pushing about 563 against 641. Actually, not too bad. Actually, it held up pretty well. So I think that's the one positive that's out here today. And if you really want to stretch, I don't pay much attention to it, is the Dow. The Dow actually held outside that high of the low and had less volume as it tested into it. So there's a couple things suggesting we might be able to trade higher tomorrow. But if I look over at the sectors, a lot of problems still in the sectors. And let me pop those up. For example, we should have seen the IBB trade higher back here on this particular reversal. So, look at this setup here. This is one of those things that says, okay, I should do this, but it doesn't do it. high volume spike low. This bar here trades under back over. That should have got you higher. Well, it did the next bar, but then it just started to give it all up. And so it did what it was supposed to the next bar actually, right? But it got no follow through, and it gave it all right back up, and you're setting new lows again. Looking at it on the weekly, you're down here at new lows. Looking at it on the monthly, you're down here testing into this high bar, the high volume bars. You know, you can find some support in here. You got an ABCD structure. It's almost done. Once that's done on the monthly, then you'll probably get some sort of relief. But still, you know, not a good scene. Now, there are some that doesn't look too bad. Like here's the home's construction, right? You get under the swing point low, you hold over it, you have less volume. That actually looks like a good test. Same thing here on the iShares, the real estate. The transports I'd already talked about, or at least the members I've talked about, this has finished up its ABCD structures on weeklies and monthlies and has got a push up as a result of it. If we look over at other sectors, though, in some of the heavy weighted sectors, financials in particular, gets under the swing point low, can hold it, does get under a higher volume low, but can't hold it either. That one's going to try to seek lower lows. If I look at technology, this is the largest two sectors in the S&P. Technology pushing volume towards the lows. Looks like it still wants to test the lows as well. And then finally discretionary, which is the other big sector, also makes new lows, holds new lows. It's a suspect break, but it is under the lows. And so when I look at all the things that are out here facing us, you've got a little ray of hope, but I don't see how it's going to hold. Looks to me like more pressure tomorrow. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Have a great one. Thanks for joining me. You tell a friend, tell two. I'm LA. This is and was your daily NeoTA wrap. Have a great night. I'll see you next time.